You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Political Discourse. Let's get right to it. Iran has answered the call of retaliation in terms or regards of what the United States and Israel got together and did to that country, as well as its political leaders and military apparatus. Iran has answered the call without fail, without let up. Israel and U.S. allies in the region are paying a heavy cost, to say the least. Not only that, but the U.S. military has now begun to take hits in terms of military personnel. The ships in the area in the Strait of Hormuz and those bodies of water are now being attacked. It is said or reported that Iran is now using ballistic missiles to target the USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier in the region. And as a result, some of those sailors lost their lives. The Art of Political Discourse said more than 2 weeks ago that this was coming, that for whatever reason, the United States and Israel saw fit to attack Iran. It really, in our opinion, didn't hold water. Donald Trump had said that they had obliterated Iran's nuclear capability or their nuclear research sites to where there was nothing left. And were that the case, or if that was the case, then why would the United States and Israel attack Iran? It is said, or the excuse is being used, that because Iran has missiles, okay, it went from nuclear armament, to ballistic missiles. Now it's regime change. There is something greater or bigger going on. What the real plot or machination is, we have yet to be made aware of. But what we see happening as a result of Iran's bombardment of Israel and U.S. allies in the region, as well as U.S. military assets in the region, is nothing short of a war. Let's just call it what it is. And a lot of people want to say, oh, it's not, it's a war. And it is a war that's going to spread and is spreading quicker than most analysts are willing to admit. That being said, I'd like to first welcome everybody again, and please like, share, and comment, as well as subscribe to this channel. Your comments are needed and more than welcome. Because of your participation and viewership in this channel, we are able to bring to you more informative and educational content for the masses to dissect and review or look at as you see please. But one thing is for sure, let's get back to this thing, is that this war is up and running. Bombs are dropping. Israel is suffering. Israeli citizens are dying by the numbers now. U.S. soldiers, from one account, I've heard over 200 U.S. service people have lost their lives. That is alleged. We haven't confirmed that yet. As of now, the United States is only admitting to 3 U.S. servicemen's death. But one thing that they can't deny, nor Israel or anyone in that region, is that Iran has had enough. So to support what I'm saying, let's get to these clips. I have multiple clips I want to share with you, the audience. And let's comment as we go. Let's get into this. Very insightful. And this is our first clip, and I'm gonna mute the audio in this. It's just a visual of what Iran has been doing to Israel so far, as well as Qatar, Kuwait, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and others. Again, Israel has said enough is enough. And to boast what they're saying in terms of this bombardment, they're also saying, we haven't even shot our best stuff at you guys. This is low tier ammunitions. All right. So this remains to be seen in terms of the outcome, because I think America and Israel overbetted or overplayed their hand. So this is over the skies of the Middle East. This is Iran's work. That was a hypersonic missile right there, and that's something that the Iron Dome or the Patriot missiles cannot touch. They can't touch them for whatever reason. Well, because of the Mach speed of these missiles. And I think this is also part of why the United States and Israel said, well, okay, yeah, we said the nuclear issue, is an issue. But however, they have these missiles, and these missiles are very, very dangerous. And so that was the other part of, or the escalation, or the mounted excuses the United States and Israel began to use. Oh, it's the missiles now, rather than they're trying to weapons grade or enrich uranium. That's a U.S. jet. I'm going to speed this up. And it's a very short clip, but it is showing what Iran is effectively doing in terms of their lower tier weapons against Israel and the United States, as well as the allies in the region. Okay, I'm going to let that go, but I have want to share this with the people.
Hi, this is Sona. How can I help you?
With Quo's business phone system,
This clip is of a city near Jerusalem, an Israeli city near Jerusalem, where the death toll is rising. It was hit with an Iranian ballistic missile. Middle East.
At least 9 people have been killed after an Iranian ballistic missile struck the Israeli city of Beit Shemesh, approximately 30 kilometers west of Jerusalem.
I'm beginning to wonder as to whether or not Iran will target Jerusalem, and I think that that in spite of that grand mosque they have there, I think that's on the table. All because if we're talking about respect for certain things, be they religious institutions or heads of state, then that is something that I think would be on the table to hit Jerusalem, the Wailing Wall, and all those sites that Israel hold as national monuments or buildings. I don't put nothing past this war right here, because we're going to see a lot of things taking place.
Emergency services
that we otherwise would not have thought in war would take place. War's a dirty game, and we're going to see how dirty it's going to
say around 20 others were injured in the blast. Israel's National Emergency Medical Service, Magen David Adom, confirmed that its medics are treating multiple casualties at the scene. The death toll continues to soar. Among the injured is a young girl reported to be in serious condition.
Now, that in contrast to the nearly 100 girls who were at school when Israel dropped a bomb on their elementary school. Nearly 100 deaths. Again, that one, death in this respect, especially innocents or civilians, is nothing to take lightly. And I guess that's why I'm saying, this reporter decided to say one death of one child in this Israeli city really does not compare to nearly 100 deaths of small school children, all girls, casualties of war, casualties of war. But, why they would bomb a school is anyone's guess. Most would say this is what Israel does. It bombs schools, it bombs hospitals, it bombs reporters, you know, these types of things. It bombs the ambulance. It bombs those who are trying to help others who are in need.
This is the result of the Iranian regime ballistic.
Okay, I'm going to move away from that because that is propaganda, and we are against propaganda here. You're going to speak to facts, that's one thing, but when you want to be, you know, putting forth propaganda, that is another. That's something we don't want to have anything to do with. Again, propaganda is what started this whole thing. You know, a lot of lies. Okay, this is Fox.
We're back with more on the U.S. and Israel strikes on Iran, which we're learning.
Okay, so the Wall Street Journal said why the U.S. and Israel struck when they did. And it said a chance to kill Iran's leaders. Israeli and U.S. military intelligence had long watched and waited for a rare opportunity. Senior political and military leaders in Iran holding a meeting where they could all be killed at once. Boy, if that, the thing is now everyone's wondering, did they actually think this thing through? Some say they did. I tend to think that they did as well. I also have a thought as to what is really going to transpire as a result of the U.S. and Israeli attack upon Iran or its declaration of war. Again, I can't call it anything other than what I see it as. This is a declaration of war. When you go to kill the leaders of the country, spiritual leaders, presidents, prime ministers, whatever, when you kill the whole table, then that is a declaration of war. Okay.
Were strategically planned for months. The Wall Street Journal reporting that Israeli and U.S. military intelligence had long watched and waited for a rare opportunity. Senior political and military leaders in Iran holding a meeting where they could all be killed at once. The attacks being orchestrated in broad daylight as a tactical decision to surprise the Iranian regime. President Trump also using a twin-track approach of diplomacy and military buildup to throw off Iranian leadership from any potential attack. Retired Navy SEAL Mike Sorelli joins me now. Good morning, Mike. Thank you. Yesterday, we were talking about would the door get kicked down with those Raptors F-22s taking off, trying to suppress and destroy the enemy air defense. It certainly appears that was the case and a whole lot more. But this broad daylight strike is really something I can't say I've ever seen. What do you make of it?
Well, good morning, Griff. I think this speaks to the just the versatility and agility of our U.S. military as well as the Israelis. We knew the strike was imminent, but to bump the timeline up substantially just shows that ability to adapt for a target of opportunity. And when you have senior leaders gathering like that with the potential to decapitate our adversary, you've got to take it. They did probably using precision guided layered munitions that absolutely hit with its intended effect.
Here's the thing about the strike or the decapitation, as they call it, is that every life lost in that attack or that strike means nothing in terms of the apparatus. The apparatus still stands. So you have the Ayatollah taken out, you know, KHAMENEI taken out, 40 other top level politicians or individuals taken out. That does not stop the apparatus. It does not dismantle or destroys the foundation that they stood on. You understand? So now in the news, there is an interim KHAMENEI, Ayatollah. There are also replacements for all those individuals who were taken out. Now, this is what I think, you know, a lot of people have not considered or given a lot of thought to, is the fact that, okay, you've taken out these individuals. Who's going to replace them? Are the replacements of those individuals who were taken out, are they worse? Are they worse then, you know? Are they no nonsense? Are they going to be the ones that say, you know what, we're going to tell the world, we're going to make a bomb now and you can't stop us? You know, so again, what was the plan? Seriously, what was the plan that the U.S. and Israel thought, or how does that plan fit in or work into them dismantling, if this is what they really wanted to do, that whole structure, not the individuals, not the individuals, because if you look at it, it's just, they are really just figureheads. It would be the same in the United States or Israel. If the top people were taken out, guess what? There are replacements. And guess what? Those replacements are going to come in more gung-ho than the ones that were taken out. That's just the way it goes. So now you've created even more animosity and hatred, even more of a reason to retaliate based upon your actions. Okay. This is something people are really not considering, and they should. They should. You know, United States are quick, as well as Israel, to say, oh, regime change. For what end? To what end? You need to put your people in there, or people who are agreeable to you. I mean, what is the problem? You know, why is that such an issue to have, or for Iran to have a nuclear warhead or nuclear arsenal for that matter? Israel has them. They're the only ones in that region other than Pakistan who has them. Wouldn't that be an equalizer? Wouldn't that deter actions like this from occurring? If give everybody a nuclear weapon, and I bet you a lot of what we see going on in the world would cease to exist. You know, and that is opinion. All right. But this thing we see going on is very, very serious. Let's get back to these clips. This one in particular, I'm not too interested in, because this is one of their guys, and this is Fox News. So you can't expect nothing or too much from Fox News.
Meet Astra, an AI-powered agent builder designed to keep your business running nonstop. Seamless.
The supreme leader of Iran dead after 37 years in power. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei killed when the U.S. and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran. Weekend Today, New York's Jen Maxfield joins us live now from the newsroom with the latest. And Jen, just into us here, we're hearing that 3 American service members have been killed.
And again, right quick, that's just what they're telling us, because that attack, those deaths happened on the USS Gerald Ford, if I remember correctly. There are other accounts that over 200 American service members have lost their lives in last 24 hours. So
that's exactly right, Gus. That news coming in from U.S. Central Command in just the last 10 minutes. 3 U.S. service members killed as part of Operation Epic Fury, and we understand that 5 others were seriously wounded. Again, this just coming into our newsroom. We'll be sure to follow this for you and update you. But Iranian missiles, we also understand, in just the last couple hours, have killed at least 9 people in central Israel, and they've wounded dozens of others there this morning. Iran has launched strikes on Israel and 7 other Middle Eastern countries. This after there were reports this morning of loud explosions in central Tehran as the U.S. and Israeli-led coalition continued targeted airstrikes next to the country's police headquarters and airport. President Trump had issued a warning overnight on Truth Social, posting that if Iran attacked U.S. interests, in his words, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before. The Israeli Defense Forces releasing this video this morning of airstrikes in Tehran. Last night, the Iranian government confirming that the supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in the airstrikes, along with dozens of other top Iranian officials, including the defense minister and army chief. And we have some other new video coming into our newsroom at this time from central Israel. This is where Israeli officials say Iran targeted the civilian neighborhood of Beit Shemesh, killing at least 9 people, wounding more than 100 others across the country.
And that's the propaganda especially for Israel. They're very good at dispensing propaganda. Okay, so Beit Shemesh was hit, 9 people. There's very little coverage in terms of the children that were killed in Iran, the schoolgirls. Nearly 100 school children were killed while in class. again, we have to be careful of the propaganda, and we have to want to start utilizing our own brains to try to figure out what's really going on, what's what. Who's going to win, or who's trying to win the public opinion in terms of sympathy and empathy. Israel and the United States are very good at that game. Okay. I just want to hit on something right quick. And this, I think, is very important for the people to get. Again, yesterday, or February 28th, this thing started. Iran was, attacked, or strikes were committed or aimed at Iran by the United States and Israel. All right. Since then, Iran has launched significant retaliatory strikes against Israel and the U.S. as a response. Interests across the Middle East as well, following major coordinated attacks by the U.S. and Israel. This is why Iran is acting the way it's acting. They did not initiate any of this. They never do. Actually, if you think about it, it's always either Israel or the United States initiating attacks on those who don't do what they're told by either country, the United States or Israel. In any regard, man, the retaliation, it included drones, missiles, drone and missile strikes, targeting locations in Israel, as well as bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. All right, the key details on the retaliation, the targets, Iranian forces, the IRGC especially, have specifically targeted 27 U.S. military locations and Israeli sites, including Tel Nof Air Base. I guess their scope, it could be said their scope is to have strikes that will reach multiple countries in the Persian Gulf, with reported damage at also with reported damage at the Dubai airport. These events follow the death of the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in U.S. Israeli attacks, leading to pledges of further revenge from Tehran. The impact of this is going to be great. I'm telling you guys, we have seen nothing yet. And that would include from the United States and Israel, but I think Iran has something up their sleeve, and it is going to hurt. It's going to hurt. The bombardment of Israel and U.S. Military facilities or sites and the allies of the U.S. in that area, that region. I think this thing has just begun. I think it's just begun. Anyway, while Iran has vowed to continue its attacks, trust and know early reports of all this stuff, man, or the suggestion, I think, is to tell people that this scope of retaliation haven't even reached its peak. All right. That's what I say. It's getting severe by the hour, more and more severe by the hour. And I hope that the media actually monitors this thing and puts this information out there so that the people can see what's happening. That being said, I think, again, people, especially those of us in the United States, we have to start taking better care of our government. In other words, we need to be involved in this government. Otherwise, this government would do as it pleases. And they'll say that they're doing it in your best interest. Iran had no plans on harming the United States of America. Iran wanted to do what it needed to do to sustain its country. It's a sovereign country. Why are there other countries trying to dictate to sovereign countries? All right. I have an opinion on that, and we may discuss that in part 2 of this piece. Until then, I once again ask that you like, share, follow, and subscribe to the Art of Political Discourse. And I want to ask an even bigger favor of you, for those of you who want to comment or have something to say in terms of what we put out here today, in terms of this content. By all means, please join in this conversation or dialogue. give your opinion on what is being done, as well as what I posted as content and said in regards to the content. We welcome that. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom